Have you ever noticed how some people seem to just light up a room, no matter their age? My grandma, who's well over 70, is exactly like that. She's the life of the party and has an amazing network of friends who adore her. While some of her peers have become more isolated over the years, she's out there planning dinner parties, organizing book clubs, and somehow managing to keep up with friends she has known for decades, alongside new ones she meets at the community center. And you know what? At 78, she's sharper, more energetic, and healthier than people half her age. Researchers have found that feeling lonely, even when you're surrounded by people, can trigger a cascade of negative effects in your body. When you feel isolated or disconnected, your stress hormones spike, your immune system weakens, and inflammation throughout your body increases. It's as if your body interprets loneliness as a threat to survival and goes into a defensive mode that, over time, actually accelerates aging. This isn't just a coincidence, and it's not just good genes. And the effects are so profound that some researchers now consider chronic loneliness to be as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Throughout human history, being part of a group wasn't just nice to have, it was essential for survival. Those who were isolated from their tribe were vulnerable to predators, couldn't share resources, and had no one to care for them when they were sick or injured. Our bodies still carry this ancient programming, which is why loneliness triggers such a strong stress response. Your stress levels naturally decrease, your immune system becomes more robust, and your body produces more of the hormones that make you feel good and help you heal. We sleep better because we feel safe and supported. We're more likely to take care of ourselves because we know others are counting on us. People feel seen and valued, and they naturally want to spend more time with you. There's a woman named Margaret in my grandma's building who was quite shy when she first moved in. She'd lived alone 4 years after her husband passed, and she seemed content to keep to herself. The beautiful thing about this stage of life is that you have more freedom to explore what genuinely interests you, without the pressure of career advancement or the constant demands of raising children. Maybe you've always loved reading but never had time for a book club. A solo painting class might be relaxing, but a group art class where you critique each other's work and share techniques creates opportunities for deeper connections. Religious organizations, volunteer groups, and hobby clubs are other excellent places to meet people who share your values and interests. The wonderful thing about these settings is that you already have something in common with everyone there, which makes starting conversations feel natural and comfortable. A walking group doesn't just provide exercise. It gives you regular, relaxed time to chat with the same people week after week, allowing friendships to develop naturally. I know. You might be thinking that social media and video calls feel impersonal compared to face-to-face interaction. You know those people, the ones you see regularly at the grocery store, the gym, or community events. You exchange pleasantries, and maybe even look forward to seeing them. But somehow the relationship never progresses beyond small talk. If you have a pleasant conversation with someone, don't just end it with, "Well, it was nice talking to you." Instead, suggest a specific, low-pressure activity you could do together. "I really enjoyed our conversation about that book you're reading." This doesn't mean keeping score or making sure everything is perfectly equal, but rather ensuring that your relationships involve mutual care and support. Perhaps you're the practical problem solver, while your friend is the one who provides emotional support and encouragement. The specific roles don't matter as much as the feeling that you are both invested in the relationship and that you both benefit from it. The healthiest, most longevity-promoting relationships are those where both people feel valued and where both people contribute to the friendship in their own ways. We all go through difficult times. Health scares, loss of loved ones, financial worries, or simply the emotional adjustments that come with major life changes. The friends who stick with us through these challenges, and for whom we're willing to do the same, are the ones who provide the deep, meaningful connections that research shows are so crucial for our health and longevity. Would you like to grab coffee sometime next week and tell me more about it? Or you mentioned you love hiking. I've been looking for a walking partner. Would you be interested in exploring some local trails together? And you're absolutely right that nothing completely replaces in-person connection. Start small. Instead of just saying, "I'm fine," when someone asks how you are, try sharing something real, but manageable. This shows that you are really listening and that you're genuinely interested in spending more time with them. Don't expect instant deep connections. Instead, think of it as tending a garden. You plant seeds through small acts of kindness and genuine interest. You water them with regular contact and shared experiences, and over time, with patience and care, they grow into something beautiful and sustaining. Most people will be flattered that you want to get to know them better, and even if they can't accept your particular invitation, they'll often suggest an alternative or express interest in getting together at a different time. I'm doing well, though I have to admit I've been feeling a bit restless since I retired. I'm trying to figure out what to do with all this free time. This kind of honest sharing invites the other person to share something real in return. Use online groups to find local meetups. Use video calls to maintain relationships between in-person visits. Use social media to stay updated on friends' lives, and find opportunities to reach out with a phone call or invitation to get together. But technology can be a powerful tool for staying connected with faraway family and friends, and even for meeting new people who share your interests. Perhaps you enjoyed cooking but never had the chance to take a formal class. They have a monthly virtual coffee date where they catch up on each other's lives, share photos of their grandchildren, and reminisce about old times. She's also joined an online book club through the library that includes people from her city and beyond, giving her access to a much wider circle of fellow book lovers than she could find locally. Or maybe you've always been curious about photography, painting, or learning a new language. These interests are UND's hobbies. They are gateways to meeting like-minded people who could become lifelong friends. This is your time to rediscover old passions, or explore completely new ones. But my grandma noticed that Margaret always paused to admire the flowers in the lobby, so she started small conversations about gardening. She'd ask about Margaret's favorite flowers, share stories about her own garden, and even brought her seed catalogs to look through together. This is the secret that naturally social people like my grandma have figured out. The best way to be interesting is to be interested. Today, 3 years later, Margaret is one of the most active members of their social group, organizing plant swaps and teaching others about herb gardening, all because someone took the time to notice what mattered to her and showed genuine interest in her passion. The natural transitions that come with getting older. Retirement, children moving away, the loss of long-time friends, can gradually shrink our social circles if we're not intentional about maintaining and expanding them. But with the right approach, these later years can actually become some of the most socially rich and fulfilling of our lives. We laugh more, which releases endorphins and boosts our immune system. We have people to share our worries with, which helps us process stress more effectively. People with vibrant social lives have lower blood pressure, better sleep, and even show slower cellular aging at the molecular level. That's not an exaggeration. That's what the data shows. The first step is understanding that it's never too late to start. This might sound obvious, but in our busy lives, we often fall into the trap of surface-level interactions. We ask, "How are you?" but don't really listen to the answer. We talk about the weather or current events, but rarely share anything personal about ourselves. or invite others to do the same. Whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond, your capacity for forming new friendships and deepening existing relationships remains strong. In fact, many people find that their friendships become more meaningful as they age, because they've learned to prioritize what really matters and have more time to invest in the people they care about. When you're socially isolated, your risk of heart disease increases by 30%, your risk of stroke goes up by 32%, and your chances of developing dementia rise by 50%. There's actually fascinating science behind why people like my grandma seem to age so gracefully, and it all comes down to one powerful factor that most of us underestimate: our social connections. Here's the beautiful thing about this research. It's not about being the life of the party or having dozens of friends. They might not be organizing big gatherings, but they're the ones who remember your birthday, check in when you're not feeling well, and are there to listen when you need to talk. These are the relationships that truly nourish your soul and, as it turns out, your body too. What matters is having meaningful connections with people who genuinely care about you and whom you care about in return. When scientists first began studying what makes people live longer, they expected to find the usual suspects: good nutrition, regular exercise, avoiding smoking, and yes, those things matter tremendously. But what they discovered alongside these factors was something unexpected. People with strong social connections were significantly more likely to live longer than those who were socially isolated. The relationships we nurture and maintain as we age might just be the secret weapon for living, not just longer, but better. Today, we're going to explore something that could literally add years to your life and life to your years. We'll dive into the incredible science showing how your social circle impacts your lifespan, discover why loneliness can be as dangerous as smoking, and most importantly, learn practical strategies for building and nurturing meaningful relationships that will keep you thriving well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Think about that for a moment. Having good friends and staying socially connected was as important for survival as quitting smoking or maintaining a healthy weight. Let us start with something that might surprise you. The research on social connections and longevity is absolutely mind-blowing. In fact, one landmark study that followed thousands of people for over 7 years found that those with the weakest social connections had a 50% higher risk of dying during the study period, compared to those with the strongest social ties. But here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just about having people around you. It's about the quality of those connections. This phenomenon has been given a name: social isolation. On the flip side, when you maintain strong social connections, something almost magical happens in your body. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I'm not naturally outgoing like your grandma. I've always been more of an introvert. Some of the healthiest, longest-living people in the world are quiet, thoughtful individuals who have cultivated deep, lasting friendships with just a few people. The key insight here is that our bodies are literally designed for connection. But when we feel genuinely connected to others, our bodies relax into their natural state of healing and regeneration. This is why building and maintaining social connections becomes even more crucial as we age. So, how do we begin to build this vibrant social circle that can literally add years to our lives? The foundation of building a strong social circle starts with one simple principle: be genuinely interested in others. When you truly listen to someone, when you ask follow-up questions, remember what they've shared with you, and show genuine curiosity about their experiences, something wonderful happens. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this. Those brief conversations in the lobby gradually became longer chats, then coffee dates, and eventually Margaret joined my grandma's gardening club. This brings us to one of the most important strategies for building meaningful connections: finding common ground through shared interests and activities. Think about what genuinely excites you or what you've always wanted to try. The key is to choose activities that naturally involve interaction with others. Community centers, libraries, senior centers, and local colleges often offer classes and groups specifically designed for people in your age range. But here is something that many people overlook. Technology can be your friend in building and maintaining social connections. My grandma, who's definitely not a tech expert, has learned to use video calls to stay in touch with her college roommates who are scattered across the country. The key with technology is to use it as a bridge to real connection, not a replacement for it. Now, let's talk about something that many people struggle with: how to deepen surface-level acquaintanceships into meaningful friendships. The secret to deepening these connections is vulnerability, but not the overwhelming kind. You might also try what I call the invitation strategy. The key is to make the invitation specific and related to something you've discussed. Remember, building friendships is a gradual process, especially as an adult. One thing that becomes increasingly important as we age is the concept of reciprocity in relationships. Maybe you're the one who's great at organizing while your friend is the one who always remembers everyone's birthdays. This reciprocity becomes especially important when dealing with the inevitable challenges that come with aging. This is where the magic really happens in friendships. When you become someone others can count on, and when you have people you can count on in return. It's during these moments of mutual support that relationships transform from pleasant social interactions into the deep, life-sustaining connections that can literally add years to your life. Life has a way of pulling us in different directions, and without deliberate action, even the strongest friendships can gradually fade. The good news is that maintaining friendships doesn't require grand gestures or constant contact. It's often the small, consistent actions that matter most. But here's something crucial that many people don't realize. Maintaining these connections requires intentional effort, especially as we get older. One of the most powerful tools for maintaining connections is what I call the regular check-in. It could mean offering to drive when a friend can no longer do so safely, or finding new ways to include someone who's dealing with hearing loss. Many people didn't know how to handle the situation and gradually stopped visiting. But my grandma adapted her approach. Instead of long, complex conversations, she'd bring photo albums and they'd look through pictures together. She'd play music from Helen's favorite era and they'd sing along. She found ways to connect with the Helen who was still there, even as the disease progressed. Sometimes it means simply being present during difficult times. Even when you can't fix the problem, you have decades of life experience, wisdom gained from navigating challenges, and often more time to share your knowledge with others. When you share your wisdom and experience with others, you're not just helping them, you're reinforcing your own sense of value and purpose. This kind of mentoring relationship can be incredibly fulfilling and provides a sense of purpose that's crucial for healthy aging. She often tells me that these students give her as much as she gives them. Their determination inspires her, their progress brings her joy, and their gratitude reminds her of the value of her contributions. This kind of purposeful connection with others is one of the most powerful ways to maintain vitality and health as we age. When you're feeling better physically, you'll have more energy for social activities. When you're managing stress and emotional challenges effectively, you'll be more present and available for others. But this isn't just about adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. When you're surrounded by people who care about you, who share your joys, and support you through challenges, every day becomes richer and more meaningful. This isn't selfish, it's essential. You can't pour from an empty cup. What strategies have you found most helpful for building and maintaining friendships as you've gotten older? Remember, small changes in how we connect with others can make a huge difference in our health and happiness. Do you have a story about a meaningful connection that's enriched your life? After all, life is better when it's shared with people who truly care about you, and you're never too old to find your tribe. Your experiences might inspire and help others who are working on building their own social circles. Maybe it's joining a group based on something you're interested in. But unlike those other health habits, nurturing relationships also brings immediate joy, laughter, and a sense of belonging that makes every day brighter. Maybe it's simply being more open and friendly with the people you encounter in your daily life. Small actions, taken consistently, can create profound changes in your social life, and ultimately, in your health and longevity. And taking care of yourself is the foundation for being able to maintain meaningful relationships with others. It's these kinds of friends, the ones who stick with us through all of life, changes, who provide the deep sense of security and belonging that research shows is so crucial for healthy aging. Whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond, your capacity for forming new friendships and deepening existing relationships remains strong. Every small step you take toward connection, every conversation you start, every invitation you extend, every act of kindness you show is an investment in your health, happiness, and longevity. Some days, reaching out to others might feel like more effort than you can manage. That's completely normal and understandable. The key is not to give up entirely, but to be gentle with yourself and start small. But things like the anniversary of a spouse's death. If meeting in person seems too difficult, suggest a video call. If you're having trouble maintaining existing relationships, focus on just one or two of your closest connections, rather than trying to manage a large social circle. Remember, it's quality over quantity. A few deep, meaningful relationships are far more valuable than dozens of superficial connections. The day someone is scheduled for a medical procedure, or when someone's grandchild is graduating, she makes a point to reach out on these days. Not with anything elaborate, but with a simple "I'm thinking of you today" call or card. As we age, we may find ourselves with less patience for drama or superficial disagreements, but we also have more invested in our long-term relationships. When you disagree with a friend, ask yourself, is this issue more important than our friendship? Usually, the answer is no. But I value our friendship too much to let it come between us. Often, the goal isn't to change someone's mind, but to maintain respect and connection despite your differences. This doesn't mean you should never express your opinions, or that you should agree with everything your friends say. Instead, it means choosing your battles wisely and approaching disagreements with curiosity rather than judgment. Learning to navigate disagreements healthily is crucial for maintaining the connections that matter most. This kind of thoughtful attention makes people feel truly cared for. This might be a weekly phone call with your closest friend, a monthly coffee date with someone you want to stay close to, or even just a thoughtful text message every few weeks to let someone know you're rethinking of them. The key is consistency. When people know they can count on hearing from you regularly, they feel valued and secure in the relationship. Health issues, mobility limitations, financial changes, and loss of loved ones can all impact how we relate to others. The friends who last are those who can adapt to these changes while still maintaining the core connection. My grandma has mastered this art. She has a mental calendar of important dates for all her friends, not just birthdays. Another essential skill for maintaining long-term friendships is learning to navigate the changes that inevitably come with aging. This might mean shifting from hiking together to having coffee dates when walking becomes difficult. I remember when one of my grandma's dearest friends, Helen, began showing signs of dementia. This kind of adaptive friendship requires patience, creativity, and above all, a commitment to the person rather than to a specific way of relating. Now, let's talk about something that can be particularly challenging, but is absolutely essential. Dealing with conflict in friendships. The key is to focus on the relationship rather than being right. Try phrases like, "I see it differently, but I'd love to understand your perspective better," or "We may have to agree to disagree on this one." One of the most beautiful aspects of friendships in later life is the opportunity to become a mentor or guide to others. This might mean becoming a volunteer at a local school, sharing your professional expertise with someone starting their career, or simply being a listening ear for someone going through a challenge you've faced before. My grandma volunteers at a local literacy program, helping adults learn to read. Let's also acknowledge something important. Building and maintaining a vibrant social circle isn't always easy, especially if you're dealing with loss, health challenges, or major life transitions. If making phone calls feels overwhelming, try sending a simple text. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your social life is to take care of your physical and mental health first. As we wrap up our exploration of how social connections impact lifespan, I want to leave you with this powerful truth. It is never too late to build the social circle that will support you through your later years. The research is clear. People with strong social connections live longer, healthier, and more fulfilling lives. Start where you are, with what you have. Maybe that's reaching out to an old friend you haven't talked to in a while. Remember, building meaningful relationships is one of the most important things you can do for your health. Right up there with eating well, exercising, and getting enough sleep. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content about living your best life at any age. Here's to building the vibrant social circle that will support you through all the wonderful years ahead.